Pokemon Nuzlocke. Chances are, if you clicked on this video, you already know what those are, but in case you don't, I'll fill you in. A Nuzlocke is a set of self-imposed rules that are designed to make the game more challenging. Now there are many different rules and clauses that the player can choose to implement, but the base rules include 1. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in an area, and 2. If a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead. It must be either released or permanently stored in the PC. Now if you're familiar with Nuzlocke, you might understand that this rule set might not be difficult enough, so to take it a step further, I will be playing with a hardcore rule set. This means that in addition to the base rules, no items are allowed in battle, I can't overlevel past the next gym leader's ace, and the battle style is set to set at all times. Now here's where things get interesting. I have added another element into this hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Renegade Platinum. Before every gym leader, I'm going to spin a wheel, and I must follow whatever the wheel lands on. This wheel has buffs, which will give me some type of advantage going into the fight, but this wheel also has nerfs, which will increase the difficulty even further. This is an advanced difficulty ROM hack after all, so a badly timed nerf could ruin my entire run. Oh, and did I mention this is my first Nuzlocke, like, ever? Needless to say, this could get ugly real quick. Can my years of gathering knowledge from other creators translate into my own playthrough? Or am I biting off more than I can chew? Let's find out. So this playthrough starts like any other Platinum playthrough, getting ambushed in your room by your overzealous best friend and rival who threatens to fine you $10 million if you're even a second late. But this game quickly differentiates itself from the vanilla version when your mom gives you running shoes and the bike off rip, as well as, hey, what's up?
Adana.
Somebody's dad is actually in the game. Ha! Unlike mine. True. Fast forward and our rival is now attempting to recklessly enter the tall grass without a Pokemon like a f***ing moron. Luckily, Professor Rowan shows off some classic Hollywood timing and stops him in the nick of time. Quickly realizing the error of his ways, Levi owns up to his boneheaded mistake. Despite his best attempt to make a premature visit to his maker, Professor Rowan, compelled by our collective enthusiasm for Pokemon, shows some mercy and allows us both to choose a Pokemon from his briefcase. In the RNG-laden spirit of this Nuzlocke, I let one of my friends choose my starter for me, at random. Kyo, give me a random number between 1 and 10. Go.
Adana. 9.
Okay. And Piplup it is. Just like that, Levi challenges me to a battle with his Turtwig. He starts off with a withdrawal, raising his defense, while I lower his attack with a growl. Now you'll notice that I start going for bubbles instead of tackles. Reason for that is, I was under the impression that I could do consistent damage with my special move even though it is resisted, instead of using my physical move which would do less and less damage the more his Turtwig withdraws and boosts his defense. But I came to realize that doesn't mean jack shit if my Piplup has a speed IV of literally 0, meaning I have the slowest possible Piplup, I'm getting outsped, and ultimately I will lose the race to 0 HP. So we're most certainly not off to a good start. And furthermore, I really hope this isn't an indicator of what lies ahead. Fortunately, this battle doesn't count, because I don't have Pokeballs yet, so we can continue on with the story. We head home, meet back up at Route 201, head over to Lake Verity where we find some blue-haired weirdo named Cyrus. After this, I trekked to Professor's lab in Sandgem Town and formally received my Piplup, who I named Luca. Oh, and you thought I was kidding about having the slowest possible Piplup? Look at its nature. Yes! Yes! He has shell armor. Yes. Oh, but you try his Iron Fist. Oh. In this game, however, he gives you the other 2 starters as well. So we also receive Brawny the Turtwig and Ruri the Chimchar. Now in a Nuzlocke, you can accept the gift as an encounter for that area, but since we get 2, I have to choose one and box the other. Now some people make the choice before receiving the gift, but I decided to choose my encounter after looking at their natures and abilities because honestly, I'm going to need all the help I can get. The randomness that will come into play for these gym battles will almost certainly make things very difficult in an already challenging game. Ultimately, I go with Brawny because shell armor is one of, if not the best ability to have in a Nuzlocke. But there is a possibility that I can still make use of Rui down the line, but I'll get into that later. Before fully embarking on our journey, Mom gets me an Eevee that can evolve into any of the evolutions with the use of a stone that we can get before the first gym, allowing me to patch up any glaring holes in the roster construction. Normally in the Gen 4 games, you'll go through the catching tutorial with Don or Lucas, but in this game, you actually battle them instead. Luckily, they picked the starter Pokemon that is weak to yours, but they're also level 9. Quick disclaimer here, I'm using rare candies to level up my team and speed up the process, otherwise it would take forever and my team would be pumped up with EVs, so I consider that a win-win. To start off, Lucas tries to predict a status move and uses Taunt, but I go for Bubble right away. He then hits me with a Leer before I hit him with another Bubble. Finally, he goes on the offensive and fires off a scratch that definitely would have killed Luca with a crit, so after my third bubble, I for some reason switch into Bronny before quickly realizing he has Ember, which will kill me on the double up. So I pivot into Dalton the Eevee to tank the incoming Ember. After he survives the second Ember, which was a high roll, he finishes off the Chimchar with a tackle, winning us the battle. This fight showed me that I've got to start paying more attention to details or I will get punished severely. Moving on, Lucas gives us Pokeballs and the run officially begins. Our first two encounters before we arrive in Jubilife City are Marcus the Surskit and Gabe the Hoot Hoot. In Jubilife City, Lucas guides me to the trainer school, but not before an encounter with Walmart Sherlock Holmes himself, Looker. Before I go in there, I head into the Pokemon Center where a reporter will quiz you on Pokemon trivia. Alright, is Pikachu an electric type Pokemon? Yes. Does the Kantos region's Saffron City have an active fighting type gym? I'm not a Gen 1er. After displaying my unmatched knowledge of Generation 1, reporter Kayla challenges me to a battle with the 3 Kanto starters and rewards you for winning with all 3 starters. Meet Jared the Bulbasaur, LeBron the Charmander, and Austin the Squirtle. Per Nuzlocke rules, I can only choose one, and I end up choosing LeBron to add some type diversity to the team. Now there's a few interesting resources in the trainer school. First, there's the Hidden Power Teller, who, as the name suggests, can reveal the hidden power type of the Pokemon you show them. Next, there's a Scope Lens, which increases a move's crit ratio. Then there's a Cowgirl that will gift you an egg that will hatch into any of the 18 baby Pokemon available in the game. After a very quick stint of running around, the egg hatches, and I get an Elekid. Pretty cool. In this game, Electivire is an electric fighting type, can learn Brick Break by level up, and now has access to Drain Punch via TM. So, I'm pretty excited about that. After battling the 2 school kids, Harrison gives me the TM for Hidden Power, and I head west to Route 218, picking up the old rod from the fisherman at the gate. I also pick up the TM for Water Pulse. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that when you receive a TM in this game, you get 99 copies, essentially making them repeatable. So think Gen 5 before Gen 5. Anyway, my fishing encounter is none other than Christian the Magikarp. Next I go north to Route 204 where I get a Spinarak. Now to be fair, I wasn't aware at the time that Ariados got a decent buff, sports a base 110 attack, and 80 speed, and learned Sword Stance, and actually, you know what, my apologies to Ariados, I wasn't familiar with your game. Alright, so boom. In the Ravage Path, I pick up the Expert Belt and the TM for Rock Tomb before finding my next encounter, Sabrina the Zubat. Next order of business, my second battle with Levi, but this time, I'm a little more equipped to take on his team. Oh my god, I was at the crit. Oh! Or so I thought. I wasn't quite prepared for as much Lax to have Rock Tomb, or for it to do that much damage. Anticipating another Rock Tomb, I switch into Bronny, but he heals with a potion. I start chipping away with a couple of Razor Leaves before eventually he hits me with a Rock Tomb, dropping my speed in the process. Now having the speed advantage, he goes for Tackle while I try to gain some health back with Absorb, forgetting that Munchlax is a special tank. It's a roll to kill with Razor Leaf, but I'm not willing to take that risk, so I switch into Luca on a Tackle. I can't get the kill on my first pound, but he misses a Rock Tomb, letting me take him out without taking any more damage. Last is his Turtwig, so I switch into LeBron on a resisted Razor Leaf. I hit him with an Ember that does about 3/4 before he heals with a held Oranberry. He tries to set up with a Curse, but I just take him out with another Ember, winning us the battle. Side note, Rock Tomb got buffed to 60 base power and 95 accuracy to mirror modern game mechanics. Moving on, my next encounter on Route 203 is a Spearow named Adu. And in the Oreburgh Gate, I luck out and get the 10% encounter Riolu, who as a friendship evolution can evolve into Lucario before the first gym, and can potentially be equipped with Adaptability, which increases its same type attack bonus, or stab, from 1.5 times to 2 times, giving it significantly better damage output. In the basement of Oreburgh Gate, I find the TMs for Flash and Brick Break. In Oreburgh City, you have the choice of obtaining one of the Hoenn starters after battling the reporter in the Poke Center, or receiving a Beldum from Steven Stone. I decide to go with Beldum because Metagross is peak. While I'm in the Poke Center clearing space, I come to find out that Riolu has Inner Focus, which means Lucario will have Inner Focus. so that's a major missed opportunity, and you'll see why pretty soon. Also, meet JJ to build him. Down in the Orberg mine, I pick up the muscle band before finding my encounter, which is Aron, the first stage of my favorite Pokemon of them all, Aggron. You know, just a little fun fact I thought you should know. After meeting Rourke, he asks me what evolution stone he just found smashing through rocks. I tell him the Moonstone, which he gives me so I can evolve Dalton into Umbreon later on. My last encounter before the gym is on Route 207, where I find a Ponyta named Caitlin. After some team prep, Nick the Riolu evolves into Lucario, Luca evolves into Prinplup, Dalton evolves into Umbreon, and LeBron evolves into Charmeleon. And with that, we're at the gym and ready to spin the wheel. Alright, first wheel spin. Whatever this wheel lands on is what we must do for this gym. Here we go. We get Rebirth. So, Rebirth, this means that I can rebirth any Pokemon in my death box. Now, technically, I don't have any deaths right now, but there were a couple mons that I did have to box because of the one encounter clause, mainly being the starters. So these 3 mons I had to box because I already got my encounter from those areas. But with Rebirth, I can rebirth one of these Pokemon and use it in my party. I end up choosing Rui because the combination of Mach Punch and Iron Fist was just too enticing. I evolve Rui into Monferno, and we are off. Askeda! Leave with Nick and set up a swords dance. Clearly I didn't go to the school of classic Pokemon AI because Nosepass goes straight for speed control, and believe it or not, this one turn could end up being my downfall. Now going first, Nosepass sets up Stealth Rock before I one-shot with a Force Bomb. In comes Geodude, probably going for Bulldoze, so I switch into Luca, who takes more than half health from Stealth Rock and Bulldoze, and of course gets his speed drop. The floating Rockman then outspeeds and kills Luca with a Thunder Punch. Not gonna lie, your speed IV of 0 and speed lowering nature were not doing you any favors there, buddy. Unfortunately, a speed IV of 2 on Brawny surely wasn't helping either, as he switches in, gets outsped, and nearly gets one-shot by a Fire Punch. Speed type, by the way. I managed to bring him into the red with a quad super effective Razor Leaf. This forces him to heal with a super potion, allowing me to go for another Razor Leaf, but I just barely don't get the one-shot again. At this point, nothing on my team can take 2 hits from any of his moves, so I have to win the speed time. And of course I don't, because that would be too convenient. I at least get a free switch into Rui, who can clean up with a Mach Punch. This sends in Onyx, and things do not look good. Everyone left is weak to ground, so my best option is to stay in with Rui and spam Mach Punch. I let one rip, and he scores a very timely critical hit. Onyx answers with a Bulldoze that leaves Rui on just 4 HP, but the crit left Onyx just low enough that Rui can take the KO with another Mach Punch. Next up is Larvitar, and I try to be cheeky and predict a Protect since he's holding a Flame Orb to leverage his Guts ability by going for Taunt, but he just goes for the KO instead with Bite. At this point, I think you know where this is going. I switch into Nick, and my only hope at this point is that he can dodge some paralyses and crits. I get hit with a Bulldoze, and there's the nail in the coffin. Yeah, we're gonna wipe here, and I'm gonna let Past Me explain how that happened. That paralysis screwed up my entire plan, and clearly I did not have good backups. Wow, that was terrible. And that just shows me I did not prepare well. Because if a paralysis is all it takes to derail my entire plan, then it wasn't a very good plan to begin with. But, back to the drawing board. In the interest of not boring you to death, I'm going to skip through a lot of the story and speed through the encounters. For example, Siri picked out Chimchar to be my starter instead of Piplup. I still lost, obviously. But yeah, again, I picked Brawny the Turtwig to be my second starter. I almost lost to Lucas. starter! Oh my god. At Lake Verity, I pick up Asia the Starly. My Route 202 encounter is Kelsey the Rattata. I get a Chingling from the egg at the trainer school. Her name is Jackie. Just like last time, I picked Jared the Bulbasaur as my Kanto starter. My fishing encounter on Route 218 is now Eric the Staryu. My Route 204 encounter is Lexi the Ralts. I evolve Rui into Monferno. My Ravage Path encounter is Jackson the Geodude. And I somehow managed to find Nick the Riolu in the Oreburg Gate again. I evolve Asia into Staravia. I still pick up Beldum from Steven in Oreburg City. I find a Zubat in the Oreburg Mine that I accidentally killed. Oh well, I evolved Nick into Lucario, who this time has adaptability. Huge. I evolved Jared into Ivysaur, Dalton into Umbreon, and Jackie into Chimecho. After spending even more time than the last go around, planning for best and worst case scenarios, running calcs and equipping items, it's time to spin the wheel once again. Let us spin the wheel. Jackpot means I can get any Pokemon I want, regardless of encounter status, regardless of location. I love me a Flygon. Oh, he gets Bug Dragon in this game. Wow. And it either gets Compound Eyes or Levitate, both of which are really good abilities. Oh my god, and it gets... Oh my god, it gets buffed to a pseudo-legendary. Trapinch is Bug Ground. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Trapinch. Yeah, that Flygon looks really good in this game. I want it. With Nick having adaptability, I figured I'd be able to pull off a couple of KOs with him before things get dicey. And that's exactly what happens. With the adaptability boost and Nick holding the expert belt to increase super effective damage, he's able to score back-to-back Force Palm KOs before Onyx enters the fray. Since he has a jolly nature, he actually outspeeds Nick and threatens with Bulldoze for super effective damage. So I switch into Jackie, who has Levitate, but he goes for Stealth Rock instead. Okay. Then he sets up a Sandstorm? Sure. I go for some chip damage with extra sensory and end up doing over half. He responds with a Rock Tomb that does about a quarter and drops my speed. I set up a Yawn so that I can switch back into Nick on a quad-resisted Rock Tomb and he can take his third KO of the fight with another Force Bomb. Although in hindsight, I realized I made a mistake. I should have stayed in with Jackie for one more turn so Onyx would actually be asleep when I bring Nick back in, because what happens next could have easily been avoided. The speed drop from Rock Tomb isn't an issue while Onyx is asleep, but it will pose a problem for the next Pokemon that comes out, Larvitar. Because of the Rock Tomb, he outspeeds me now, so I have to dodge a crit, and I'll be able to one-shot him with another Force Palm. That's kind of annoying. So much for all those steps I had to take to evolve him. Well, at the very least, that grants me a safe switch into Jared, who one-shots with Magical Leap. In comes Cranidos threatening with Zen Headbutt. That gives me a free switch into Dalton, who's immune to Psychic type moves. Dalton is a defensive wall, so I figure I can take a few hits. Unless he crits. Twice in a row. Now, can someone please explain why he does what he does next? I switch into Rui with the intention of getting the KO with a Mach Punch, but with 2/3 of his HP, he heals with a potion. With that heal, I no longer get the KO, and after Stealth Rock Chip, he gets a clean one-shot with Zen Headbutt. I have never seen a trainer ever heal while still above 50% HP. This bizarre play by the AI cost me my starter, and I can't help but feel like I got cheated. But whatever, we move. Eric comes in and delivers some karmic retribution by nailing the specially frail Chrome Dome Dinosaur with a critical hit Water Pulse. 2 more Water Pulses on Bonsly, and the battle is won. But not before 2 deaths to some heavy hitters that I thought would be major factors in this run. It's still early, but it's crucial to limit deaths as much as possible, because the snowball effect is real and could possibly result in me starting this run over for a 3rd time. I will be posting this run in gym splits, so the next video will be everything up to Gardenia, including my first run in with Team Galactic. So be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to see how that unfolds. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. See ya!